As I understand it, human intelligence is your best possible weapon in a war, a counterterrorism war, and also one in which you are trying to defeat an ideology. For example, there's been a question about whether or not the intel gained during the Bush administration helped lead to the courier who led to the Osama bin Laden raid. I think that the way to describe this is that the CIA had gathered a haystack, okay? The interrogations gave them the GPS coordinates for where the needle was. And you get that by blowing people to smithereens. And I think that the agency has a right to feel betrayed by the Democrats. And I don't call this a Senate report. This is Senate Democrats. I mean, imagine if Republicans, anonymous Republican staffers had spent 40 million taxpayer dollars on a report to trash the president in which they never talked to anybody that was involved in the program, where it's been roundly ridiculed by people who were actually involved in the program, and you are creating a crisis of moral confidence at the CIA. You have people there, morale, a lack of confidence. And one of the most important things at the agency is to make sure that you have the full backing of the government, that you are not going to be hauled into court later on. And it's just very shameful, I think, that the way that the media has played this. But the CIA is going to get defended today by their leader and CIA John Brennan. I really believe that they might say that, yes, of course, mistakes were made. We always are working to improve our processes, but that on balance, the CIA people that work here are noble people that have given up their lives. They don't want to go on TV. They give up their entire careers or dedicate their careers to taking care of us so that we get to do whatever we want to do.
Yeah, no, and you make a great point. I mean, they're doing the work that none of us would want to be in the position to do. And, you know, they were put on this earth perhaps to carry out the missions that they're doing. You know, it raises so many questions about, I just keep wondering, what would this administration do if they were to apprehend a Zawahiri, for example? And bin Laden, on that raid, it was obvious that they wanted to kill him on sight, that they didn't want to interrogate him. There's a lot of reasons, and we could talk for hours about why that might be. But what would they do now if they got Zawahiri, for example, in custody, in a way to question him?
Well, for as above board as they say,
or an ISIS leader, if he's still around.
They have carved themselves. They have a carve out. Okay, the president has. We're not going to do this. Of course, I reserve the right to do something through the executive powers that I have.
Isn't that exactly what the prior administration did?
Yes. And but the other thing is that the prior administration was gathering all of that human intel. People are upset with Gitmo. Okay, we've been trying to close Gitmo, but we're dealing with a different type of war. And just remember that days after 9/11, the CIA was called up to the Hill by both Republicans and Democrats, including Senator Feinstein, and said, and they were told, do whatever it takes to make sure that this never happens again. Yeah. Years later, after the CIA has been successful, now they turn around on them and say, wait, we didn't say to do that. And I think that there is going to be long-term damage for the Democrats to come on foreign policy and protecting the American people.
And probably a huge about-face if, God forbid, anything happens.
Well,
again,
and the great thing is about